very best game, and nothing could ever change my mind.
What if I told you there's now a Nebraska Pick 4?
Say what?
It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you could choose from 6 different bet types. What would you say to that?
I love Nebraska Pick 4. It's the Nebraska Lottery's very best game, and nothing could ever change my mind.
Thought so. Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown's Shoe Fit. Now through October 31st, take $15 off any regularly priced fall shoes and boots. Brands like Keen, Oboes, Echo, Taos, and Atrax all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale you've all been waiting for, so get down to Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, this is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Blackshirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? Happy Victory Sunday. Once again, Nebraska's back on the winning track. It was a little bumpy road, but nevertheless a winning effort yesterday against Michigan State. This is Jay Foreman Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. 7601 Pioneers Boulevard will take care of all your imaging needs, and then also set forth a path to hopefully some better days and obviously more knowledge on anything that you have going on. Before we get into Michigan State, or what, the game in Michigan State. October 11th is the third annual breast cancer awareness walk over at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. So make sure you check on AMI, advancedmedicalimaging.com, all that information. Appreciate you guys if you would go out and support. Definitely touches everybody across America in some form or fashion. And they do a lot of great work and obviously support Cancer and Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but then more importantly, the third official Breast Cancer Awareness Walk next Saturday, or is it next Sunday? I think next Sunday. I think it starts at 10 or 11 a.m. We'll get you more information before we get off air. Also, update the NFL Browns against the Vikings will be on live here. Pregame will be at 8:15. They kick off at 8:30. We will be on stream after about 10 more minutes.
Yep.
But Harrison, in the short, little bit of a, well, I say it was I guess it was a weird game because for me, it was a sloppy and choppy game, right? But then they did some things really, really well. I felt like first and foremost, the defense and special teams stood out without a doubt. Primarily the defense. Well, I'll just say defense and special teams. I think the defense,
for how often they were out there, they played pretty well.
I think they played really well. I think they took advantage of a porous, and I wouldn't say porous, just a lack of a cohesive offensive line in Michigan State. I think they rattled Childs early, and obviously I think the hit on him, it was an old school hit, so it really got me hyped, where you just pile drive his face into the ground. That was great. Between that and blowing that punter up out of the face of the earth, he got blasted. That was the highlight of me.
It tells you what, if you get there fast enough, you can light him up. You don't got to worry about that flag.
Hey, it was great.
You just got to get there quick enough. And
he got blasted.
You don't got to worry about that.
I love it too. He just got blasted. Hey, whole boy got rocked, and I was laughing. I'm sure he's feeling it today. But I think he was rattled. I think they were able to provide pressure on him. I mean, he was under pressure all day, and that was good. And I think when you have a second-year coach like Coach Smith, I think he's like where Nebraska was at times last year. And if you really, I was thinking about this coming in. Nebraska faced our 2025 team faced essentially a Nebraska, like Nebraska last year's team. And here's what I'm saying. Aiden Childs is probably at where Dylan was last year.
Yeah.
The running back by committee is kind of where Nebraska was last year. I think their receivers and their tight end, and everybody going to get into it. Yeah, I know Fedoni made the team. I'm just saying their receivers, their skill position guys are kind of like where Nebraska's were last year. Those guys. The offensive line, I think by the end of the season will be better. And their starting left tackle was out, so that hurt them. I think they'll be more cohesive. They have a really good center. They have some good pieces interior. They're kind of a little bit in flux in what they're doing because they're trying to match their tackles to what they want to do offensively. So really, we face Nebraska of 2024 in 2025. When you look at defense, right? Now, obviously, Ty Robinson and Nash is better than anybody they have on the defensive line, but I think Jordan Hall, he's the dude, and defensive backs are probably better. Our defensive backs were better last year than they had, but just really, to wrap things up, I felt like Nebraska played I wouldn't say a subpar team, but just a version of themselves last year. And then they eventually got it going, by some mishaps. I mean, when you look at the special teams of Michigan State, as Nebraska went home last night, they probably felt like their special teams won, right? Or was a big part of winning their game. If I'm Coach Smith, I'm looking at it, my special teams lost the game. And, the wind was a factor, especially on the muff kind of pooch kick. I still don't think it was a big enough factor for him to play that well. I mean, you give up a block punt for a touchdown. You give up numerous returns where Barney, I think, averaged 20-some yards of return.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if they didn't take that one back.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But then also, when you think about it, that's not just on the coverage. That's on the punter. You have the wind behind you, and you more than outkicked your coverage, literally. So you gave him essentially 20-yard head start.
Yep.
And Nebraska's done a really good job of holding guys up when it's a return. And then, the muff, pooch punt, which is a lack of communication, lack of preparation. And when
was that a pooch or was that unintentional pooch punt? Oh, you're talking punt. I was thinking the kickoff. Yeah,
I'm talking about the kickoff.
Okay,
I'm talking about the kickoff, and whether it's intentional or not. And I know this from experience because I was just actually funny. I was telling the story about when I had to make a kickoff return. I'd never been scared stepping on the football field. That was the most scared I ever had because I knew it was coming. We were playing down in Miami. It was a hot, windy day. Miami was kicking into the wind before we go on. And now, granted, I've been playing in the NFL for a long time at that point, or quite some time. And I'd always played special teams. And I'd caught plenty of pooch kicks in practice or whatever, and squib kicks and all that. And I was, I'm always like, hey, I played running back in high school. Wait till I get it and all this. But before I went out there, all right, Joe Marciano was like, hey, remember what we practiced? And we were lucky enough in Houston, we had a windy day, and I was out there for like 15 minutes catching balls or whatever, about 10, 15 minutes. And it came to me because it was into the wind and it kind of got held up. Now, they didn't have the fair catch rule because I had to catch it and then I had to run the return. Whereas Michigan State, they have windy conditions up in Michigan. You know when you're kicking towards the south, it's into the wind. So that special teams play, after Nebraska ties it up 21-21, right, on an off-schedule play, right, essentially, they had some momentum. You gave them the game. Now that it's granted, I'm glad they did, but we're just talking about how the game went. And then also one thing I think that you also have to be positive about. I felt like Emmett ran the ball well. I think he was our best player, right?
13 carries, almost 100 yards.
Average six and some change per carry. It was good to see Mekhi Nelson bust off one, but I think Emmett was the dude. He had 6 catches and he had quite a bit of yards there, and was very, very consistent and tough. And so that's what you need. You got to be able to grind out a victory. And the one thing I will say, though, that's probably a bigger positive than the offense, defense, and special teams is that Nebraska's been able to win or hasn't been able to win an ugly game in the past and has found a way to win. And, they still got stuff to work on and coming off the bye week and then they got to go right back to work whenever they practice next. And they're no different than everybody across the nation. It's just the fact that we played probably a little bit lesser team and we wanted to, kind of play extremely better after the Michigan game. So now it's onward and upward because you got Maryland on the road. So you got to refocus and then re-energize really quickly.
Yeah, and I think UCLA just reset everybody on. You really can't take any of these Big Ten games for granted anymore.
No, number one, there's parity across the landscape of college football.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't have your head in the sand and think like, okay, there's parity across the landscape of college football, but not in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is the best conference top to bottom, and it's a little bit of an uptick where Penn State didn't know what to expect, but also they got out coached and got outplayed. And they got athletes out there at UCLA. They got a new coach and got coaches coaching for an opportunity, potentially a job.
There's just so many good coaches in college football now.
You got young guys too. It was Rick Neuheisel's son was the offensive coordinator. He did a really good job. There's some good young coaches, but there's still some good players that they're capable at UCLA. And maybe a new voice or a new outlook, has helped, release Nico because he was dominant yesterday.
Yeah.
That was the dude that you thought was coming out of high school. That's the guy that you thought you saw at times at Tennessee, and maybe this play caller and the way he's using him is getting the best out of him.
Yeah, and that's just, with all these teams, it's like they're all loaded with talent. Like even with Michigan State yesterday, there's quite a few times it felt like they had our number, but to your point, it felt like they're Nebraska of last year where they're shooting themselves in the foot, and we were doing a little bit of the same in the first half as well. But
second and third quarter was not our best light, and then Nebraska was able to make the one play with Dylan and Ja'Cory up the sideline, and I think that broke the game open into Nebraska's favor. Nebraska, I think, was able to score, kick it off, muff the kickoff, score again, and Michigan State didn't have enough in the tank.
Yeah, and then when Neziah Hunter took off one shoe, that really put a dagger in it.
Real quick before, will this automatically switch over?
Yeah, so just so you're aware, about 15 seconds, it will be NFL. But if you want to keep listening, just hop onto the streams or the ticket app.
Yeah, so early in the second half, they ran that play. The same screen. It was actually the first play of the second half. Nebraska ran the screen to
Want to quit tobacco?
To Hunter. And he got about 9-10 yards. And he was one tackle away from going house call there. And I think they must have got a tip that the lane fill, I guess the run fits or the fits into that to stop that play were off. So essentially they probably told Hunter, you just got to beat one guy, break one tackle. And then essentially to win the game, he broke one tackle, went 50-some yards with the one shoot.
And Evans.
Oh, yeah.
Way to make the play on that. I mean, that's how you get those explosive plays. And that was the one thing that was really good all day. And you saw it on special teams too. It was out kicking the coverage, but on top of that, taking advantage of the blocks. I thought the blocking, it wasn't always there, but at certain moments just all over the field. Like on offense, every now and then there's a few times where you can blame Dylan Raiola for holding on to the ball too long, which sometimes he did. Other times, just not holding up.
As much as people want, the easy thing is
sporadic.
Look at the sack total and say, all right, it's the offensive line fault. It's a whole offense's fault.
Yeah,
because when you score a touchdown, it's not just the quarterback and the receiver or the running back. This the offensive line. So then when you look at it, okay, we ran the ball good. So then as much as you want to, bang up the offensive line, well, then we ran the ball good, right? And I'm taking the sack yards out of it. I'm just talking about, Emmett running the ball, conventional run game, ran the ball well. At some of the times, if you're saying he's holding the ball too long, well, then I would say, then he's actually has some protection because he's been able to hold the ball too long. So you really just got to get better at the rhythm and timing, and this is why I think understanding the why is so important. And then the urgency of knowing the why, because certain plays in certain defenses, and I'll just talk about it from a defensive perspective. when I learned when like blitzes, zone blitzes, when you would, we would show one type of defense or coverage and move to the next, right? And sometimes you're like, all right, you're going against Peyton Manning. He knows everything. Why do we got to hold our coverage and then go late, or hold our coverage, show one thing, then go back to the original late, right? It's all about rhythm. It's all about when you learn how to blitz. So for instance, we used to run this blitz in we ran it in Buffalo, and I ran it in Houston as well. So I ran it for like 6-7 years, or 7 years, first 7 years of my career, in different forms and in different defensive personnel. It was called over double switch 11 gut, right? And then 11 was the coverage, just man to man, but gut was the kind of, and we'd switch it based on whatever the game plan was. Edgerrin James is to the right, left, whatever, tight end on and off the ball, right? We'd run the gut blitz, and sometimes we'd move it over a gap or whatever. But the timing of it was so crucial, because it also dictated the rhythm of when they would show the different, go from a zone look coverage to man, even on motion. So it all had to work together. Now, how does that work with the offense? So when you're running like quick game, or you're trying to win early, maybe, sight adjust with the blitz, all that's pre-snap analysis, but then also running your routes on the run, right? Because if I know Harrison, if I'm a receiver, right, and I give a signal that I might think the corner might blitz, but Harrison's at 12 yards, all right, well, then we got to know that I'm snapping this route off about 3, because it's going to give me a chance to catch it without getting my head blasted, number one, because we want me around for more than one play. Number 2 is giving me another chance to make a huge play. All that goes into it. And then, and if that's off a little bit, or the cadence off or something like that, and that just comes down to communication, it can throw out the rhythm. So really, I think that's, they can solve it by really kind of just getting that together, and then everything will kind of flow together a little bit better. And, and then therefore, then the offense will be smoother. And then obviously when you want to go on the road, you want to be packing all 3 phases of your team, because I can guarantee you right now, Maryland's going to over prepare, and I'd be very surprised if they were under prepared for our special teams, right? Because a team like Maryland is going to think we have to at least break even or win the special teams. We can't lose the special teams because we don't have a chance to win, right? So and then defensively, they feel like they just got a little bit too comfortable against Washington and feel like they match up against anybody. They had Washington down. They were up 20-0 at home.
Yep.
And lost 24-20 or whatever it was, right? I mean, so they're in the same spot as us, even though we won and they lost. But then when you go on the road, you definitely got to pack your defense, right? Because you're going to probably have to, really settle in and try to, obviously settle down that offense. But then more importantly, you got to really hone in on the details and the little things and the fundamentals. And that's obviously, you don't want to have any false starts. You don't want to have any, formation penalties. You don't want to have any.
You don't want 2 touchdowns called back.
No, you can't.
No, and then we'll play the Penn State. That's going to kill us if we're. And we can make an argument about one of those penalties, but there's a few false starts in there. And Nebraska's been pretty.
They've been
good this year.
They've been
Michigan State too, but this was a bad one for us.
Penalties have been down, so it's just kind of a one-off. But then you still got to go back and work at it. I mean, you had 6 penalties, 44 yards. Michigan had 5 for Michigan State, 5 for 45. I think when you're 100% right, Harrison. You can get away with some of it against Michigan, and you're at home. But as you get deeper into this Big Ten season, that just the reason why you don't want to get away with it anymore. And obviously you do if you win, but you don't want that to be in your DNA.
Right.
But Coach Rule and staff has really worked hard at getting that out of the fabric of Nebraska, the pre-snap penalties, the lack of discipline and all that. That's why you've seen tangible and consistent improvement, right, from year 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. And so sometimes you got to go back and revisit those things that you were able to break of those habits to move forward. And it's nothing better, or not a better time to do it than after a victory.
Yeah. And then, that's the part we won. Thanks.
Right.
Again, I'm a little bit surprised, but I thought a lot more people would just be excited to be winning games more often than not at this point. There's things to critique, and I am totally, fair for that. But I mean, how many times in years past is this just another game we end up dropping? And
Oh,
we're
yeah.
we're putting enough plays together to win. Is
We
it
would have got
perfect?
blown out. So I'm just trying to count the years. So 3 years ago or whatever, before we would have got blown out by whatever the margin was.
Exactly.
We would have lost this game a few years ago.
So we're finding ways to win. And,
We would have lost this game 38-27.
I don't doubt Giles would be having a day on us. I mean, the secondary was incredible.
Yeah.
All day. The one thing
Defense
you can
played
maybe
really well.
critique them on was they were struggling to get off their blocks on the outside.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, the defense is playing for a bunch of young guys. I think they're playing better than people were maybe definitely expecting them to in this game. But even through the course of the season, I think for a bunch of young guys, they are having some moments where they're having lapses, but they're kind of learning on the fly. And even Javen Wright, a guy who's been in and out due to injury, he had a nice little flash right at the beginning, jumping over the running back to open up
the hurdle.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the stuff I love. The guys are getting comfortable, and I just think
letting it loose a little bit.
yeah, just let this thing come together. We're winning games. We're not losing them nearly as much as we used to. It's October, and we're 1-0.
Yeah,
I don't even know when the last time that was.
You have to be very rational to understand that there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
At times it was choppy, not the best aesthetically pleasing football.
Did you go to the game?
Yeah, but I was there, and I've been in those games, but ultimately they don't put a picture next to the W. They just put a W, 38-27, and you move on. There's plenty of times that we won a national championship. I always tell people when we won a national championship, Washington State, we had a game like that against Washington State.
Yeah.
97 national championship year, UCF, same thing. They gave us a test, right? The same type of deal. And I'm sure the radio waves or airwaves are the same. A little upset, but I also want to say that look, they're doing way more positive than negative, right? Let's just get that. But the most positive thing they're doing is winning. But then also I will say, don't run away from the critiques. It's actually good.
It is good.
It's actually a way of telling you the expectations are there. So that therefore there's no apathy in the program or in the atmosphere as far as the fans. So because once you get apathy, then you're in some trouble. That's not even close to here.
I always say Georgia Southern was the closest we ever came.
Well,
after that loss.
Yeah, the closest we ever came. We were there.
Well, Frost got fired, so the embers got lit up again.
So
angry embers, but it created a spark.
Yeah, but it was apathy. It was apathy. It did.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But I think also it's good to have that type of pressure, and it's good because it'll make you better. It'll keep you working, keep you striving. And so, like I always say, it's better, a so quote unquote ugly victory. I say this game was more choppy than ugly.
The first half, I went there with Sam, and I think we maybe had the wind going in our direction on our backs like twice up until the third quarter, and then it was defense. It felt like for the entire first half, it was a choppy, tough game to watch at times. But again, you found a way to win, and there wasn't just a lot going in our favor at the beginning. A lot of it due to our fault, but also you credit Michigan State for playing a little bit of time possession, really milking the clock with the wind at their back. But it was just struggling.
Yeah,
and they found a way.
Yeah, they got after us a little bit, and
their backup QB though, I'll say he scared me a little bit more.
Yeah,
he scored the first 7.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to take a quick break, come back, but I'm going to tell you how they lost. Now, listen, if 11 finishes the first half and maybe starts the second half, it might be a different story. But inside the huddle, Jay Foreman. We're going to take a quick break, come back. We'll talk about the quarterback battle, talk about the quarterbacks from Michigan State, and then we'll start to look towards Maryland. We'll be right back after a quick break.
Harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade for this year's harvest. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends August 31st, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Hey fans, there's more winning at Amigos with the VIP Game Day giveaway. Every app scan is your chance to win premium tickets to a Nebraska football, basketball, and volleyball game, along with exclusive game day perks. And when Nebraska goes to a bowl, the winner also gets 2 tickets, lodging, and airfare to the bowl game. Weekly semifinalists will win free food for a year. Go Big Red. Eat at Amigos and enter to win.
Amigos is celebrating 45 years with exclusive Nebraska Legends collectible cups featuring Tom Osborne, John Cook, and some of your favorite Huskers. For every cup sold, 50 cents goes to teammates. Show your Big Red pride by getting all 4 of these collectible cups at Amigos.
This is Tom Osborne with the Teammates Mentoring Program. We have students on the waiting list for a mentor, and we want you to join the team. Learn more about mentoring and support teammates by visiting Amigos.
An overdose can happen in front of you and you might not realize it. Blue lips, slowed breathing, pinpoint pupils, choking sounds, unresponsive to touch or sounds. These signs aren't always obvious, but they can be deadly. Knowing what to do could save your friend, your neighbor, your child. Learn more by visiting myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com so you can be ready before it happens. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Limitless Male says, it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade for this year's harvest. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends August 31st, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
Well, we're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. They always take care of me. Matter of fact, I'll be over there in about 2 weeks. But one thing that wasn't taken care of, it was Michigan State at the quarterback position. And I don't think there's a quarterback controversy, but Aiden Childs came in and, a ton of potential. I think he's a former 5-star recruit and was originally going to go to Oregon State, followed Coach Smith to Michigan State, turned the reins over to him last year, had a really good year, had comparable stats to Dylan last year, to be honest with you. They were 5-7. Nebraska ended up 6-6 and obviously made a bowl game. So you think like, okay, he's on the upswing, and he had played well up until yesterday. Now I do think that Nebraska's pass defense is pretty good, right? I think you have veterans back there.
I think we hit him early too, and it did shake him up a little bit.
Right. Well, you're not able to get. I think he was able to get a quick. If you watch the USC game, there was a lot more space. There was a lot more easier throws. Whereas Nebraska, you're right, got in his face, got him off his spot. But also, I think you had guys a little bit closer in coverage, so they weren't as easy throws. And the atmosphere at Nebraska on the road is different than being out there at USC. Now, he took a big hit. He was harassed all day and hit, I think we had 4 sacks. We sacked him 4 times, excuse me. But that's how he ends up at 9 of 23. I mean, that's a stat line, 9 of 23 for 85 yards, 4 sacks, the long of 14 yards. I do think after he got dinged up a little bit, they should have held him out through the first half, especially after Alicio Milovičić came in and orchestrated a flawless drive, or pretty much mini red zone drive. And it lets you know they have a lot of confidence in him. Now, also listen to where Alicio is. He was the Illinois State Player of the Year, so he's legit. They came in and immediately went 5 wides. So the reason people are like, why would you go 5 wides with a quarterback? Well, essentially you can predict the coverage based on motion, and it spreads out the defense. He made a great throw, got down there, and they had a trick play called, and then they got it and they ran a little bit of a old school play. Flat 7 cut, and the 7 cut was wide open, touchdown. The reason why I would have kept him in there is because right away that next series, Aiden Childs comes in, overthrows a dump off pass, and if you watch him throw, he threw with 0 balance, 0 follow through, and kind of dart. Like if you throw darts, he just darted over there. It went over the running back's head right into Deshaun Singleton's hands. But that was a byproduct of being hit. So sometimes, even though he's your starter, you got to settle him down a little bit. I think Michigan State missed an opportunity to go into halftime potentially tied, right? Or move the ball deeper into Nebraska's territory, punt, and then play field position and maybe get 3 points. Because Aiden Childs, in my opinion, didn't look right the rest of the game. He short arm throws. He got harassed and hit.
He's just really trying to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, at that one point, they called it a forward pass, which I think was the right call, but he was having some moments where he was just pushing too much. And I think a lot of
that's
it,
where panic comes in.
Yeah, and a lot of it, you know what? It's my whole beef with the Caleb Williams of the world is like when you have that kind of talent, sometimes it can go against you.
Well, that kind of talent is not something you want to depend on week in and week out.
Exactly.
Or quarter in and quarter out.
Yeah, that's a better way.
You might want to. You know what? Here's a perfect example to
because he would kill us with it sometimes.
When they went kind of to the quarterback run game. I'll just say the off-schedule quarterback run game. Now, obviously, the quarterback sneak from 6 yards. That's not. I take that out of it. But I'm talking about the one where he drops back and then he decides to run. That's what you need to do. But when you scramble around a little bit and the guy's wide open, and you skip it to him like you're skipping rocks at a lake, that's where it gets Caleb Williams in trouble, and that's what got Aiden Childs in trouble. And that's the difference between, for people out here when you say, Dylan holds on the ball too long and all this and all that, but Dylan can throw accurate more than Aiden Childs. That's the difference now. And so that's where you got to be careful to understand of what you have and what you don't have. And you saw it on display yesterday. And if you want another example, and before we get into Maryland here, we got another 8 minutes, is Arch Manning came in, probably the most high-profile recruit in probably the last at least 6 years, maybe 10, but I'll just say the last 6 years. He was getting paid a huge NIL sum of money as a redshirt for 2 years, or a redshirt and then, backup player. And he looks pedestrian, and that's being nice.
He looked a little bit like Childs, where you like him when he was running, but sometimes he'd get out of the pocket and those off-footed throws. I mean, one of those picks was horrible.
Well, you look at it
later in the game, and just underthrew it so bad.
His two uncles were probably the two most fundamentally sound quarterbacks in some time in the NFL.
And his grandfather was the running QB, right?
Yeah. So you like to mix those two? He ain't mixing it. So
he's got like maybe a quarter.
Yeah,
of it
so
down
I think
right
it's a learning process for him. Being the starter versus being the guy that's kind of like your a la carte off the bench is significantly different, and that's where you feel comfortable where we're at. Now, I will tell you this before we read this text here. I feel a little bit more, or I feel more confident that I know the offense and Dylan will bounce back, Coach Dana will bounce back, and it's not even about the yardage or the output. It's probably they'll get back on rhythm.
That was, to me, that stuck out. Like, once they found the rhythm,
it
was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Get back on more consistent rhythm, series and series. They lost their way a little bit after the big return, and they went 3 straight passes and ended up punting it. They'll learn from that, and then they'll bounce back. Unknown texter 5704, he says, our win against Cincinnati looks better every week. I said it before the Cincinnati game. We played Cincinnati at the right time. First game of the season. They didn't have their rhythm in the passing attack because they lost all 3 of their top receivers. Their quarterback's a problem. They got a good left tackle out of the transfer portal. They had a right tackle, I think, or guard and center that was all Big 12 or whatever. They had dudes, and the running back was more capable. And the defense is kind of one of those defenses. They have Corleone in the middle, and then they have a bunch of kind of like hybrid guys and 2 real big backers. So they kind of play a certain style of defense that can give you some problems. And you've seen them yesterday pretty much take Iowa State to the woodshed.
Yeah, I mean, when you play against Beck, it's hard to ever like pull away from him because he's just going to keep you in the game. He's that good. But I mean, it was
over.
It was I think what was almost 17-point spread at one point in time.
Yeah, it was in
38-30.
Cincinnati
finish,
was very impressive. Now I will say the yard that Cincinnati was able to get was also a byproduct of Iowa State's top 2 corners being out. But you got to take advantage of it. And Iowa State is known for a program that develop guys, and some guys got exposed yesterday. But you're 100% right. That's great. It is better for Nebraska, and potentially if Cincinnati keeps going the way they're going, they can end up being ranked. And so then you got to you want your strength of schedule to be higher at the end of the season, especially if Nebraska is able to try to get on a run to potentially sneak into a bigger bowl game or something like that. So overall, I think it's good to win. I'm gonna say my offensive MVP was Emmett Johnson. I felt like he was the guy. I mean, in all 3. I mean, without a doubt, 3 touchdowns. Very, very effective and consistent. Defensively, I'm gonna do 2 guys. I'm gonna do Javen Wright. He had 4 tackles for loss, huge sack or half a sack, 10 tackles. I want to give it to him. But then also I want to give it to the guy, Deshaun Singleton, who I feel like has probably been the most consistent player game 1 through 5, at least in just a naked eye.
Yeah,
he got 2 picks yesterday. I don't care how they happen. Even though they throw it to him, you caught him. Big plays, and plus he's a senior. Good kid, too. So I think those are my MVPs. And then obviously special teams gets one as well.
Yeah, he almost had the touchdown, too, if they didn't call it a forward pass.
Yeah.
Because he had the 2 picks, and then he got on top of that. He was just all over the field.
Yeah,
I'd easily give it to Singleton as well.
And I like it because he's playing. I think he's playing a little bit of a different role this year, and so he's playing a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. He's playing back in a deep half, so I like the way he's doing, and he's tackling really well. I'm happy for him. Anytime a guy's able to take advantage of the senior year. So, but a victory is a victory, and that's what you want. I'm also that Maryland game is a game that, let me see.
It's not a walk in the park. Terps are dangerous.
It's not a walk in the park. And what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if you want to play Maryland after a loss like that, because they're going to be really PO'd. Because that's a hard loss. You're up 20-0, and then they get a field goal and they go 21-0. They essentially put PlayStation reset. When you play PlayStation, did you guys used to make them hit the reset button? Yeah. So if you got people out there not familiar with it, when you play PlayStation, NCAA or Madden, you get down 21-0 or 21 points, you got to hit the reset button. Just imagine that. You've been able to score 20 points. You couldn't get 6 points or a field goal. You couldn't score 8 points. That's a hard loss to take.
Yeah, I got no idea what team we're going to see out of Maryland, other than a very, very upset Maryland.
I think they're going to be. I won't say a surprise, but I think that Mike Locksley is a good coach. He's been consistent. They've been bowl eligible and bowl game. They weren't very good last year, but generally been pretty tough team, and so I think they'll be more than capable.
Is that an early
2:30 game?
2:30, okay.
Or 3:30 or 2:30 our time.
Yep.
So I think it's a good time. Good game time for Nebraska traveling out there.
First road game.
True road game. I don't count Cincinnati. I think Malik Washington, as a true freshman, pretty much almost 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's kind of like Aiden Childs. He's only been sacked once, so that lets you know they're pass protecting well, but then also he's getting the ball out of his hands rather quickly. So you got to be able to confuse him a little bit. They don't run the ball at the same clip because Hemby is gone. That was a really good runner. He's a 1,000-yard rusher. And they only average 3.3 yards a carry as a team. And their 2 top running backs only average 3.5. So this is a different type of offense, right? This isn't a line up, punch you in the mouth type of offense. But then when you flip to passing attack, okay, they got their 2 top receivers average 17 yards a catch. That's a problem. Another one averages 10, and then their tight end averages 8 yards a catch. So there you go. Now they're going to get to it different ways. Knott's their receiver. He's their touchdown guy. Through 5 games, he has 5 touchdowns. So, it's obviously 1 touchdown a game. So that lets you know red zone, spacing routes, one-on-one opportunities. You're going to Knott's. Octavian Smith is more the middle of the field. He's a guy that can stretch some stuff, and he's a little bit more run after the catch. So you got your work cut out for you, because when you have 4 guys, 19 catches, 18 catches, 25 catches, 21 catches, that's a
good quarterback.
But it's spreading it out now. That means everybody's got to be on point.
Well, it means he's reading the field too.
He's reading the field, but then it puts the pressure. You got to one thing. This is how you win road games. Number 1, when you get on the plane, you pack your defense. That's first and foremost. Secondly, pack your special teams. Those 2. You always want to pack your offense, but you just expect on the road, right? A sleepy environment. You might start off a little slow, or you start off fast and then you got a little low. That's why you pack those 2. And you just don't pack them just to give a little bit. You got to play great special teams and defense all game, because then you'll get the momentum, and then eventually our offense will get going if they don't get going right away. So we're going to take a quick break so we stay on time, come back, talk about some other things with Maryland, their defense. They have a good defensive line, pass rush, so Nebraska have their work cut out for them. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll be right back.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Load it with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's schwisow.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Rollouts have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Rollouts will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Rollouts make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Rolloffs, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Bring new life to metal treasures with Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. From railings and fences to outdoor furniture and unique antiques, their expert team removes years of rust and weathering, then finishes each piece with a lasting powder coat. Trusted by industries across the region, now local homeowners and businesses can experience the same professional care. Visit KaiserBlasting.com or call 402-421-3559 to request your quote. Restore, protect, and make your metal shine like never before with the help of Kaiser Blasting and Coatings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
Short segment, Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Did a little Maryland offense. Obviously a capable opponent, 4-1. Tough loss for them against Washington. Hopefully we are able to double that up and have them lose another tough loss against Nebraska. I do not care if it's 28-27 as long as Nebraska wins. But defensively, the one thing that this team is a lot different than, I say, Terp teams in the past, they got a pretty formidable defense, right? And I think they take the ball away at a pretty good clip. I think they have, well, no, I don't think they have, through 5 games, they have 9 interceptions. That's pretty good. That's not pretty good. That's excellent. And 20 sacks. And so they do a good job of, attacking the ball.
Racked up 3 against Washington.
Yeah. And so they do, they're playing, they're swarming. They're led interior by their defensive line. They have, if we count the defensive line, out of the 20 sacks, they got 7, 8, essentially half the sacks, and when you give or take. And so that lets you know they move a lot. They try to, penetrate and, stop the run on the way of the pass. And so Nebraska's going to have their hands full, especially being on the road. Communication is going to have to be key. But I also think that when you look at that Washington game, the fact that they got up 20-0, and I think Washington finally found something that clicked. You know what I'm saying? Because they were able to, when you look at Washington, the game stats, right, as far as, the rushes in the game against Maryland, when you look at the box score, right, as far as that game. Let me pull this up real quick before we go.
I was just looking through all their games. They're racking up 3+ sacks every game.
Yeah. Oh no, they're doing their thing, but I'm just
Wisconsin. They had 6.
Yeah. So they're. But when you look at Jonah Coleman, 18 carries, Damon Williams, 14 carries, it lets you know that Washington felt like, and they threw the ball 41 times. Now you're down at 1 point, 20-0, but it also lets you know that they felt like if they stuck to the run, eventually they would get something to pop. And obviously, Damon Williams had a pretty good game, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was able to, obviously finish off the victory of a 21-0 fourth quarter for the Washington Huskies. So, look, it's another game. It's a Big Ten game on the road. Maryland's looking to get back on the winning track. I think when you go out there to College Park, when you look at their last game, they had 46,000 people, so it's going to be a home field advantage, but nothing that Nebraska can't handle. And so you just got to go out there and play to your best ability. And the best ability sometimes is just stay out of your own way, right? And that's just prepare the best you can, keep the penalties low, eliminate or limit the explosive plays. And I think the more that you lean on a team like Maryland, that you'll eventually be able to, obviously, either beat them early or eventually, win the game late. So it's a big task, but I think Nebraska will be up to it. And by no means do I think Nebraska is going to not lead without the W.
Yeah, I think if the offense gets some film in, because like you pointed out, that pressure is going to be coming from all over the place. That's going to be. Figuring that out is going to be big.
And that's where you got to just communicate.
Yeah,
and you got to get and obviously I think we have more weapons than most teams that Maryland face, but you got to communicate. You do that. So, anyways, our communication is over here. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Breast Cancer Awareness Walk next Sunday. Be there, support, as we appreciate you guys supporting us here at the Ticket. We'll holler at you next week.